Hey everyone, this is Mr. O'Connor walking you through Phase 3. First, we've got our questions where you're going to explain the answers in your family Flipgrid. We have our vocabulary, some of it's changed a little bit. We're adding research terms, so make sure that you are using these or thinking through them and certainly reading them when you are evaluating your sources, doing your research, all that kind of good stuff. The next thing we've got is you explaining your podcast. So, this is a very quick summary over what your podcast is about. You can drag and drop to select over your topic. You can tell me your format. You can also tell me your audience, who you're collaborating with, or if you're not collaborating, all that kind of good stuff. We will do a quick write together where you're telling me about your podcast, but not just what it's about. How'd you come to this topic? Why is it important to you? Do you have any other thoughts, concerns, all that kind of stuff? Here, you are going to analyze this nonfiction text called The Lone Woman of San Nicolas Island. You need to make sure you write down the controlling idea or thesis. You've got your vocabulary, but you should also use your nonfiction anchor chart to help you analyze this and answer the questions on slide 8. There are key verbs that you should pay attention to: detailing, listing, comparing. How does the author organize? When you read these questions, make sure you pay very close attention to the verbs in the answer choices and go back into the text and see, is the author comparing? Is the author describing? Is the author listing? How to do research. We are now at the part of our project where you've picked your topic and you are starting to find information about your topic. So we start with a plan. We've talked about our subject. We're going to establish what we know, other similar ideas, keywords and phrases. We're going to look for information. We are going to go virtual first. And if we need to go into the library to try to find things, we might be able to do that next semester. As we search the web, we can look for different methods, photocopies, note cards. All of these are ways to take notes and collect ideas. This is going to be done digitally on the next few slides, but if there's another way that you want to do it, we can certainly talk about that. What kind of information are you finding? You're scanning it first to see, does it include the information I want? 5-finger test. Is it good, medium, or bad? Is it true information? So you're evaluating it. Is the source good? Is it explaining accurate information? How do you say it in your own words? You organize it, you compare and contrast, put it in order, and then you come to your conclusion. You then add it to your bibliography to make sure you evaluate it, add to your glossary after you've analyzed it, and you now have your steps to doing research. So, what can we start with? Well, you've got your topic. What do you know about your topic? What do you need to know about your topic? And what questions do you have? So, what if something happened to your topic? What would happen next? Keywords and definitions. This is something you'll build as you find more and more research. So, what words are there about your topic that are specific to your topic? For example, if you were doing a podcast about basketball, you would want to include basketball terms like dribble, pass, shoot, 3-point, dunk. Those would be words that you need to make sure you know so that you can use them appropriately when talking to your audience. The next slide is where we start our bibliography. So you're going to put your resource title. That's the title of the source that you found. Who published it? Or who wrote it? Was it a person? Was it a group of people? When was it published? Who published it? Was it a newspaper? Was it a textbook? Was it a blog? What is the controlling idea? One sentence. And then what type of source is it? It's an article, video, book, website, etc. We need to know all those things. You need a minimum of 4 resources. A minimum of 4. You can max out at 6. The reason why we don't want a ton of resources or too many 8, 10, 12, is because you still have to read and analyze them. So where do we put our analysis? Short, simple analysis. Pretty much all of your sources are going to be nonfiction. So you have your very basic nonfiction analysis understandings. What is the controlling idea? What are supporting details? How is it organized? And a one-sentence summary. Make sure you copy and paste the link to the resource, all that good information. If you'll notice, some of this information is going to be copy and pasteable. I guess we can say it like that. Okay? So don't work harder, work smarter. Don't write everything 4 times when you can copy and paste, when you can write it once and copy and paste it 3 more times. Here we're evaluating our resources. So what do you find? Where's your title? Again, copy and paste that. You can copy and paste the summary. Is it a valid resource? So that's when you're evaluating a resource. Is it true? Is it not true? Is it coming from a good source? Is it a newspaper? Is it someone's book? Are you going to use it? So you need to fill that out. Do a little bit of grammar practice. So our topic in research development. For example, if you were doing who makes the best burger, Whataburger or In-N-Out, this is an example, then you would need to include specific information. So the story driving your question, who makes the best burger? Who's the story about? Well, the story would be about Whataburger and In-N-Out. What are they doing? Well, they're both making burgers to compete for business, to compete for mouths. Why is it important? Well, there's a lot of reasons it could be important, but for example, in this one, maybe you say, well, we live in Texas. In Texas, we eat beef. In Texas, we like burgers. We want to know who has the best one. Who is the story not about? So what you would not include are, oh, well, I really like Whataburger's fries. Well, it's not about fries. This is about the burger, right? What events or situations should not be included? Things that are not connected to your topic. Why is it not important, or what is not important? Make sure you list those things, because when you describe the things that are important, you don't want to overlap into what is not important. And then you get to start your outline. Tell me very simply how you're going to tell the story, and that's in quotes, or how you're going to explain your podcast in steps. What are you going to talk about first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way through 10. If you need to add more, you can. If you only need to do 8, that's fine. But you can also add sounds, details. If number 3 is going to be an interview, you can write interview with person, that kind of thing. So you're going to fill this out as you see it happening in your head. And then we're going to start brainstorming our topics and our, excuse me, in our formats. So if you're doing an interview podcast, you would fill this out based on your topic. Who are you? What is your topic? Who are you interviewing? Etc. What is the first question you ask? What is the answer you expect? How do they follow up? What do you ask them about their follow up? And what is their next follow up? Doing a panel podcast, similar format. You're going to fill this up. You're going to answer, or you're going to fill this out based on how you would ask your panel the question. So you ask a topic, what do you think the answer is going to be? Follow up, what do you think the panelist one's answer is going to be? Do that for each of them. If you're doing a nonfiction docupod, you're going to explain it all here. I did skip solo and co-host. If you're doing a solo podcast, you would just fill out host A information, topic, and down to the conclusion. If you have an approved co-host, then you can fill out both. Then we get to sound. Sound design is very important for your podcast. We're going to do a quick write together, but then you're going to evaluate 2 different podcasts or short radio excerpts where you can explain things like, what sounds did you hear? I want you to list them. You have to answer this question. How can you tell where the host is? Why do you think the host included these sounds? What do the sounds help the audience understand? You need to do that for both of these. This is really thinking about what sounds are happening around a topic. you're presenting a topic, you want to make sure you know what sounds you should include. Here is a how-to article about what sounds you could include and how to include sounds and how to think about what sounds to include. So fundamental of recording. So you got to be able to record, but also include sounds. And also we'll get into a little bit of thinking of editing and grouping and all that kind of stuff too. You're going to read this, do some kind of quick annotations, explain what's going on for your two different articles. And then, last but not least, you are going to put in an ideal scenario, what sounds do you want to have in your podcast? So if you're doing, for example, a sound about, or a podcast about cars, you would have the sound vroom. So you're going to do an onomatopoeia in this column. Explain what that onomatopoeia means. Why is it important for your audience to hear it? Where do you think you can record it? And how long of a recording do you think you need? Do you need a vroom recorded for 45 seconds? Probably not. But brainstorm. This is a brainstorming activity. This is not about what you can already get. This is an ideal scenario. Which ones do you want to have for your podcast? You have your checklists at the bottom, and that is it. Hope this helps. Remember, ask if you have any